sure that we understood the questions, I'll express my understanding of each before I proffer an answer. Commissioner Baloyi wanted to understand when the reports are filed by the inspectorate and the minister's letter to IDEC, whether it's in respect of the complaint that the dockets were being intercepted, or it's in respect of the content of the dockets, which is the basis of the complaint, or it's in respect of both. Okay. If then our understanding is correct, for our answer, we will direct you to Annexure 15, which is what the witness had testified to, and in particular page 289, where that information note starts. Starts at 289. And just for reference, that particular document concludes at page 291, and you will note below the signature the date. That is the report of the 20th of November 2024. Once again, for context, there had been a previous report of the 4th of November 2024. And the commissioners will recall in that particular report, an extension was requested. So this follows up on that. So I would like to refer the commissioners to page 290 of the bundle, which is the second page of that report. And point to paragraph 3.2. Two nine zero at 3.2. And it states, the affidavits in the dockets are basic and in the opinion of this office lack the elements of crime. So that's addressing the content of the docket. Now, if we go back to page 289, item 2.2.1, it says a report was compiled wherein the allegations that there was interference from both the provincial offices were reported to be unfounded. So that 2.2.1 responds to the, it's not interference, interception. And 3.2 refers to the allegations made in the A1 statement, yes, in each docket. So I trust that answers the question unless another arises there from.
No, it's not so much a question arising. I think what I wanted to clarify was you had been discussing with the witness and you asked him the question, where is that complaint now?
Yes.
That kind of question.
Oh.
And he answered and it wasn't clear to me which complaint is he responding to now.
And also just to complete the question, I guess one could also ask, what is it that goes to IDEC?
I'm coming there. And I think it ties in very well to Commissioner Baloyi's question. When I asked where is that complaint, it's in relation to the complaint that was forwarded to IDEC by the Chief of Staff. That is the investigation I was interested in. And the witness explained that he related a story that, or his testimony was involved General Sintumule and assistance to IDEC to obtain the files that were with the inspectorate so that they transfer to IDEC. And General Sintumule will come and talk about what the challenges were then that required intervention to allow for that process to complete so that IDEC can work on the complaint as it received on the 11th of November. This information note relates only to the work of the inspectorate that was carried out by the inspectorate. So as of the 20th of November 2020, as far as the inspectorate was concerned, there was no basis for a complaint, both as contained in each of the 6 dockets, based on what was provided, the decision by the complainant not to avail themselves to provide further elucidation and the fact that they found no evidence of interception. So both technically were dismissed by. That then left the IDEC complaint. Now, getting to the IDEC complaint, that is the one that is referred on the 11th of November. He deals with it, paragraph 180 of his statement. And the complaint is forwarded to IDEC in terms of section 27 of the NPA Act 32 of 1998. And in the section 27 reads, if any person has reasonable grounds to suspect that a specified offense has been or is being committed, or that an attempt has been or is being made to commit such an offense, he or she may report the matter in question to the head of investigating directorate by means of an affidavit or affirmed declaration specifying A, the nature of the suspicion, B, the grounds on which the suspicion is based, and C, all other relevant information known to the declarant. So when the Chief of Staff issues that letter, he invokes Section 27. And Section 27 is intended to trigger the investigative process by IDEC into the commission of an offense. So now the color is slightly different because it implies some level of criminality. It is that process that I was inquiring as to the status thereof.
And you've just referred to an affidavit. This is a letter, not an affidavit.
And indeed, that letter is wholly non-compliant with the very sections 27 that it purports to invoke. This leads me to the question posed by Commissioner Khumalo regarding, if I did not misunderstand him, regarding General Khumalo, if I'd understood well.
Can I maybe rephrase my question?
Yes.
So there is this complaint by MP Adams, and there is this intervention or decision by the Chief of Staff of the Minister's Office. And I read those with the conclusion in paragraph 184 of the statement of General Mkhwanazi's statement.
Yes.
And what I was struggling to follow was whether a suggestion was being made that the Chief of Staff and MP Adams were collaborating to frustrate investigations of the GCI ops, or what is it that the General says they are collaborating to achieve? I'm just missing that from paragraph 184 of the statement.
From the testimony of the witness, and again, with reference to the documents, we start with the letter of the Chief of Staff,
Yes.
which arises from a complaint that arrived by email in the Minister's Office. That email did not attach the dockets. So the Chief of Staff does not know the nature of the complaints in the dockets. That becomes, only the inspectorate has view of that when it looks into the actual dockets. So the only basis on which the Chief of Staff would be referring this matter to IDEC is that he suspects or there's a complaint of interception. We will run ahead a bit, but before we do so, I go back to page 290. Remembering what
Sorry to interrupt you. Looking at the paragraph that starts due to the nature, page 310.
310.
Yes. On my understanding, that's the referral to IDEC. So when you look at that paragraph, due to the nature of the allegations, and if you read that in the context of what comes before, it seems to me that it's not the interception now that the Chief of Staff is talking about, but rather the complaints in the dockets themselves. I'm just correcting your last or so.
Indeed, and I wish to engage with that because there is no document that would support a conclusion by the Chief of Staff, to that extent. And the reason being, timeline is important. The complaint by Mr. Adams is made on the 1st of November. It is then immediately referred as received to the National Commissioner on forwarding to the inspectorate. In that email, there is nothing about the content of the complaint in the docket. So the Chief of Staff doesn't know. The only complaint that the Chief of Staff receives is the interception of the Cape Town dockets, and what he says seems to be happening once again with the Gauteng. So it's the conduct of the police in intercepting these dockets.
Why do we say that?
Because it's in the wording of the email. When one looks at the email, what we have attached are the actual emails that were forwarded to the office of the minister. And that starts at page 266, 266. And that email at 266 speaks to the two sets of dockets, speaks to I was told the dockets were intercepted. And at 4 it says, I have been notified that the Gauteng Police Department had followed the same modus operandi. That is what gets referred to the inspectorate. The only issue that goes beyond the interception is at page 268. And at 268, it's once again, it's an email to Mr. Nkabinde of the 10th of November, the subsequent one. And it reads, we hereby request that an independent officer or body be appointed, as we are concerned that General Masemola may have erred in his statement that the allegations pertaining to Major General Khumalo's security clearance. In this case, the National Commissioner has misled the nation, which in our view is a very serious issue. So now this is a complaint against General Masemola. The dockets themselves, the 6 of them, relate to a complaint about General Khumalo. And hence the conclusion that even as at the 10th of November, the Chief of Staff did not have knowledge on the content of the actual dockets themselves, and therefore the nature of the complaint in there must be correct. And we say that our interpretation has to be correct regarding head to how he phrases the referrals to IDEC.
You may continue with your response to my co-commissioner, Commissioner Khumalo.
To do that, I will have to perhaps once again back to page 290, and that's annexure MK15. There's that information note from the inspectorate which we say dismiss the two complaints. At item 3 under discussion. It says the criminal allegations in the 6 cases which were opened are leveled against Lieutenant General Khumalo, Major General Lushaba, Major General Madondo, and Brigadier Ncube. and are centered on 4 specific matters. You recall when we were looking at the email of the 10th, it was about General Masemula's conduct, and that's not part of this investigation. And these are centered on 4 specific matters, namely abuse of the Secret Service account, cover-up of a criminal incident linked to Valera case, failure to address Major General Madondo's result of the polygraph examination, and practices of nepotism. We have to jump ahead. I don't want to testify on behalf of the witness to point Commissioner Khumalo to page 96 of the witness statement. And from paragraphs 3 to 5. All right. Now, that deals with the arrest of General Khumalo subsequently, arising from a case of, quote, at best, nepotism. Criminal charges are laid against him, that's in there, and he is arrested. He is now on bail. So when the witness said in his statement that they follow patterns, this is the pattern that they are speaking to, and I'm going to hand over to him now to explain the pattern issue. But before I do so, I would like to draw your attention to a qualifier he put forward before dealing with specific allegations. And that's at 158. And it states, I request that each of the facts I articulate below be taken into proper context, being the developing pattern of cartel infiltration of policing and the criminal justice system in general in the country that is being established by available intelligence. Each fact on its own may admittedly not be conclusive, but I submit that in the context provided, each supports, at the very least, a call for further and deeper interrogations and investigations. So as the various pieces come together, there'll be a better appreciation of the facts that he's testifying to now, because they are part of what he contends, or they contend, the police, is a developing pattern.
But if you had not reached the part that you say you are going to direct the witness to, I prefer that you should not jump there.
Okay.
Get back to where you were and just go on with the...
Okay, then we will flag it when we get to that part.
Yes.
I will make sure that the witness deals, connects what it now at page 96 back to this conversation to conclude the point. Thank you, Chair.
You.
I'll approach it that way. In light of the answers provided, I don't want us to rehash. I just want to make sure that the witness had not completed the point that he sought to make, insofar as the complaint to inspectorate and IDEC are concerned. General, therefore, to test my understanding, and please listen carefully, and I will pick up on what the chair said, and I do so quite mindful of the fact that the chair did qualify his comment to say it's early days, with reference to quote unquote and non-complaint. So I want to inquire from the witness the nature of the actual complaint insofar as what we've been discussing is concerned. We know that Mr. Adams' complaint, or non-complaint, however it can be defined, triggered 2 separate investigative processes into the conduct of the police. Is that your case? What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that?
Commissioner, when as we investigate, as I said before, that we get an evidence of something and we try and connect this with something else, and we start seeing a different picture. Mr. Adam, despite the fact that he leveled these complaints against these individuals at crime intelligence on the 29th and the 31st of October, respectively, in two different police stations, two different provinces. The following day, then he sends a complaint to the minister. The outcome of that complaint seems to not resolve or address what they want to achieve or what he wants to achieve. In that, the National Commissioner's Office, the inspectorate in the police through the National Commissioner's Office is asking for additional, number of days, which is another 10 days.
So,
The minister receives this and he acknowledged this on the 8th of November. 2 days later, Mr. Adams sends another email, now with a different content, same complaint, but now he believes this time around he's talking to what the National Commission has done, but yet he has not been able to engage with the inspectorate. So I don't know how is he privy to the National Commission's report that is directed to the minister, but he seems to address now, he is including the National Commission now that the National Commission himself is wrong with regard to how he's handling the vetting issue of Khumalo and so forth. And this email, he sends it to the minister on the 10th. That is 2 days later after the minister signs the acknowledgement of the extension of 10 days. He sends another email on the 10th to the minister. He's now asking the minister to refer this to a different body to investigate. So that's how I think what then triggers the invitation of IDEC or the justification of saying, Mr. Adams, your complaint is unfounded for now. But in order not to wait, send me something else or the making allegations on this so that we can move this thing outside the police. So that's the only conclusion that one can draw from looking at the pattern that the inspectorate is trying to engage you, you are not availing yourself, they produce a report, the minister receives it on the 8th, on the 10th, you are now sending an email talking about almost the same report that you did not participate on. You are now blaming the National Commission because this report comes from the National Commission. And we are now requesting that another body be invited to take over these dockets. That's what we see as a behavior that Adams is doing, and also the office of the minister. Commissioners, maybe if I also take you back a bit, my apologies that when inspectorate conduct this investigation, General Jacobs, besides having the expertise within inspectorate to be able to read the case dockets, because they are detectives themselves within that are qualified, but he refers this complaint to legal services of the South African Police Service in order to get their opinion from an independent body that is legal services, who are people that are admitted advocates that are sitting in that division. The inspectorate wrote back to legal services, wrote back to inspectorate on the same complaint, and you'll see it on the annexure 293.
Page 293.
On page 293, I beg your pardon. On same annexure 15.
Yes.
This is the letter from inspectorate that is written from legal services that is signed by Lieutenant General Kamani, who's a divisional commissioner of legal services. And if you look at the last page 296 on different paragraphs, maybe I'll just read one on record. Paragraph 9 says, as indicated above, this is the response of legal services to having studied the dockets. And they are responding to inspectorate, giving advice, legal advice to inspectorate with regard to this complaint. They are saying, as indicated above, at the complaining statements, all the complainant statements consist of hearsay evidence, which is unadmissible in court. The identity of witnesses who may have personal knowledge of the allegations are also not mentioned in the statement. This information is critical to ensure a proper investigation. There's just one quotation of what the legal services is saying.
And perhaps you might want then, on that vein, to continue to point 11.
2.11 reads, Commissioners, whilst the allegations made by the complainant are serious in nature, they are unsubstantiated at this stage. The complainant's statement can be described as vague in accusation rather than account of factual details that fall within the complainant's personal knowledge. So this is what I thought, let me just reflect on, that inspectorate, in reaching the conclusion on their letter to say there's no basis, there's no element of crime on this complaint that warrants even the registration of the docket, but nonetheless, the dockets were registered. So coming back into this, Commissioner, what I want to also draw attention is that in my statement on page 58, number 17174.3 on my statement.
Paragraph 174.3, right?
Yes.
Yes.
On this page, I'm just indicating the complaints that Mr. Adams have put on his statement when he registered these dockets. And one of those complaints that I want to draw the attention of the commissioners on is 17.3, which reads, the third case concerned the appointment of Ms. Mkhwanazi as head of the technical support service at Crime Intelligence. This is an individual that was appointed at Crime Intelligence, which formed the basis of one of the cases registered both in Cape Town and in Orlando. I must indicate, Commissioners, that of all the complaints that were presented on all these dockets given to IDEC, the only arrest of that entire team is based on this Ms. Mkhwanazi that was appointed from BMW coming to Crime Intelligence. It is based on that. It is not about this case of Adams, but it is about a new case that was later registered. The complainant, the very same Mr. Adams, on a different statements that he now deposited to IDEC in January of 2025, not part to these ones of October. Same facts on this, and these dockets are with IDEC, but the arrest is effected on a new complaint by Mr. Adams, now specifically to this person. So it is why we are saying this is a strategy employed to make sure, Special Commissioner Khumalo, that as I kept on referencing, there's one central figure here, or there's one problem that needs to be fixed. And this problem is to stop the investigation of this drug cartel. And that is in Gauteng province. And the common person in this thing, it's Khumalo in the Senate.
My question has been answered now.
It has been answered.
That's really what I wanted to get.
So we will come back to that. You had the witness speak to new information, new affidavit. Those relate to the matters that are dealt with at page 96, when we specifically deal with what is termed the General Khumalo case.
Can I just confirm? General, you say 174.3 is the basis on which General Khumalo was arrested. Is it the only charge that he's facing presently? I mean, it's matter of public knowledge that there are criminal proceedings. Is that the only charge?
Commissioner,
Before he answers, General, if I may, because I fear the witness might misunderstand as to, is it the only charge? Because the charge sheet may contain a number of charges. I understand the commissioner to want to know whether the charges for which the charges leveled against him arise from that one incident.
Yes.
As opposed to it there being only one charge.
Yeah.
So
yes, and I just need a yes or no answer. You don't have to give me detail of what it is.
the answer is yes. This forms the basis of the arrest of General Khumalo and the team at Crime Intelligence by IDEC. if I
Thank
may
you.
qualify.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, General. Okay, now to find my place again. General, I think that in large part has dealt with your complaint as regards the conduct of Mr. Adams. You, beyond that, then move to another issue from paragraph 186. And this relates to what you say is the conduct of Ms. Kohler Barnard as a member of parliament. And you have attached, or you have reproduced a start of a statement. In dealing with that particular complaint, please have regard to the question that the chair had posed at the beginning of your evidence about Mr. Adams, or no, I think it was Commissioner Baloyi, which is the relevance of this evidence, this complaint, to the terms of reference. So you deal with your complaint regarding Ms. Barnard, but please try and locate it to the extent that you can in its proper context.
Not that I'm claiming credit. I raised that question.
Oh, I do. The chair definitely raised it. Yes. If you are able to, if you are not, and you explain it away as part of the pattern that you reference, then we will deal with it in due course.
Actually, in my marginal comments on my statement, I have the same question in respect of this MP as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think I've preempted the chairperson's question, asking the same question twice. So, yes, it's in that context that I would like you to summarize what your complaint is and how you suggest that it is relevant to the Commission's terms of reference.
Commissioners, Ms. Kohler Barnard is a long-serving member of Parliament. Maybe you might, beg your pardon, Ms. Kohler Barnard, maybe you might excuse to some degree, not that I agree with it, Mr. Adams, of being new in that Parliament. But Ms. Kohler Barnard is a veteran in Parliament as a lawmaker who ought to understand what belongs where in Parliament. And I can confirm, Commissioners, that she is appointed by her own political party, which is a Democratic Alliance, to be a member of both the Portfolio Committee on Police that deals with the open account, as well as being a member of the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence, which deals with the COVID funds. So she's better positioned to call the department to come in account at the right platform. But we have seen, and I said when I started, I'm going to throw one example of each. I'm not going to go into details with many. There are many examples. But she's one of the leaders in our legislature that is participating in both breaking the law as well as fueling these malicious attacks that are happening within crime intelligence and ultimately directed at Khumalo as the head of that intelligence. I said she is a member of Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence. So what I put here on as an example on page 61 under paragraph 186 is a statement that she released in her capacity as a member of the Democratic Alliance, which I'm going to call these two paragraphs, Commissioners, on record. The Democratic Alliance is calling for an immediate and thorough investigation into the recent purchase of a multi-million rand commercial property by the Crime Intelligence Division of the South African Police Service in Bria in Durban. The second paragraph, this purchase, approved by high-ranking officials within crime intelligence, raises serious concern due to the vast amount of taxpayers' money involved, especially as it follows a previous highly questionable property acquisition in Pretoria to the tune of 22.7 million rand. a matter that the Inspector General of Intelligence confirmed is now being investigated. The full statement is available on internet. You can go and throw it. It comes from Ms. Kohler Barnard. Now she's introducing an Inspector General. We know, and we're going to demonstrate that later, that the intelligence community, they operate separately from a normal account. There are 3 entities established in the country. One is within defense. Another one is state security. The third one is crime intelligence. And both of them are supervised by the Inspector General of Intelligence. And that is the only individual that has got access to all the classified and the work that they do at crime intelligence. And whatever reports this Inspector General of Intelligence discover must communicate with the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence. Later in our presentation, commissioners, I will demonstrate in some of the incidents that happen at crime intelligence that involve the Office of the Inspector General of Intelligence being used by politicians, which I had an experience on as I read my portfolio, my profile, the experience I had when I was the acting National Commissioner at the time. We will indicate that because in trying to address the issues at crime intelligence and the political involvement, back in 2011, I deposited an affidavit at the Zondo Commission. That affidavit is available. Unfortunately, I was never invited to come and testify at the Zondo Commission. So the patterns that were there, the modus operandi of how they're dealing with things at crime intelligence back then, it still exists today. So what we see here is a person who has a legal obligation to keep the mouth shut and go to the Joint Standing Committee and present and ventilate on this and hold the Divisional Commission accountable. But she does not use that platform. She goes publicly and discloses this. The risk of this, commissioners, is that it forces the members that are within crime intelligence in the public space to defend themselves by divulging all the secrets of the states that they are aware of, the irregularities within crime intelligence that ranges from the police to the political parties, which the members are not supposed to, according to their vetting and their classification of that information. The platform they have to vent that is within the Inspector General of Intelligence and Parliament, Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence. So that's why a provincial commissioner like myself, Jerome Mkhwanazi, I'm not invited to that Joint Standing Committee because I've got no business with that budget. It is the Divisional Commission of Crime Intelligence that has an access to the Joint Standing Committee to go and account, because he's the one that is classified to be there and deal with the matter. So we demonstrate here that the Ms. Kohler Barnard have had, and the Inspector General of Intelligence, we have evidence of that he's part of the instrument of investigating the things or counter-investigation of the things that the team are doing within intelligence. So that's what I thought maybe I must bring forward without going more into details. As I said earlier, these are some of the things that Jaro Kumal is going to come here and is going to elaborate more of what actually is contained on this Gauteng counterintelligence investigation, who is involved, and how the counter, what is the role that the Inspector General of Intelligence is playing in trying to frustrate this project. And we know in public, it's public knowledge, that the very same Inspector General of Intelligence have signed MOUs with entities outside that security, that intelligence structure. Okay. One of them is IPIT, which is within the police, as an example. So, but we'll demonstrate that, commissioners, because what we're trying to show here and tell the South Africans is that the whole intention is to stop the investigation of this cartel and the operations of this cartel. And all the efforts that we are seeing as we are presenting this today is that there is a concerted effort of making sure that Khumalo and whoever he works with are frustrated in making this to end in court. And different approaches are being applied, as we're going to be demonstrating as we are continuing with this testimony today.
So you are suggesting for the moment that that issue be flagged, the complaint regarding that particular MP be flagged, and that General Khumalo will testify more as regards the issue you highlight here. Is that your testimony?
That's exactly. Simple because there's a secret fund account mentioned here, there's Inspector General of Intelligence mentioned here. That is not much of my space, so that's why Khumalo will come and testify on this in details, Commissioners.
Thank you, General. So those were the two complaints you leveled against the politicians in Parliament.
That's correct.
Now, from page 61, we now concentrate on the executive. And you start that conversation at paragraph 187, all the way to paragraph 213. So let's take it in bite sizes. And we start at paragraph 187. You may read some aspects of it into the record, or you may speak to it as is most comfortable for you.
Commissioners, I had said previously when EWN Media asked me questions, I conducted an interview in my office, and I repeated again in Parliament on the 5th of March, and I repeated the same thing on the 6th of July this year, that there is a gentleman, Mr. Mkhwanazi, who is an associate of the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mkhunu. I spoke about Mkhwanazi as an associate of Senzo Mkhunu, Minister Senzo Mkhunu, simple because what confirmed that is that when I received a WhatsApp communication from a number that I do not know, with the information that we're going to talk about later on the statement, it made me ask a question because the person who's communicating with me seems to suggest that he is close to the minister, he is with the minister. But for me to confirm that, I had to first engage the person that I said earlier, I knew very well, the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabende. I called him to confirm this fellow, whether does he know a person called Mkhwanazi.
General, if I may, and I'm
Yes.
sorry I do apologize for having to interject. Perhaps if we follow the narrative as you set out in the statement, paragraph by paragraph, summarize, because you have set out the steps with reference to when what event occurred and culminating in your conclusion, lest we lose the commissioners, if that's workable with you.
Yeah.
If you may.
No, Commissioners, I was just introducing Mkhwanazi, that there is this gentleman who made contact with me, and the Chief of Staff confirmed that this person is a close associate with the minister. So that's how I got a confirmation, also with the exchange of messages between me and the Chief of Staff. So that's when I got to be comfortable that this person is speaking because he knows things that are happening at the office of the minister. When Commissioners, on the same paragraph 187, but second page 62, I had raised issues because upon further engagement, and I discovered that this Mkhwanazi is linked to the underworld figures, people that are subject to investigation that are involved in criminality within the country. And this person is close to the minister. So when we appeared before the portfolio committee and I mentioned this Mkhwanazi, the minister on the record in Parliament, he denied knowing this person on record. But later, in a private conversation that the minister had on the 30th of March, he acknowledged that he knows this person as his comrade. Commissioners, I'm not good in English. I don't know what's the definition of comrade and what's the definition of associate. I use the word associate, and they deny the associate, but they confirm a comrade. I'm not an associate, but I'm a comrade. So,
And this was a private conversation between whom?
between the minister and one lady, okay. That's a conversation that, fortunately, that lady recorded the conversation. It was a telephone conversation between them.
And if I may, General, I know you're getting there, but the chairperson has posed the question. Is that what the lady? I apologize. I switch it off because the paper tends to make noise. To the chair, we will get to that point, but perhaps the chair might want to make a note that recording that the general references is dealt with at paragraph 201 of his statement, and that's where the detail of that recording is provided. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner, the communication between me and this Mr. Mkhwanazi started on the 30th of September 2024. This is when I had received a WhatsApp message from Mr. Mkhwanazi, where in his own writing, in that WhatsApp message, he was warning me in a way of saying that there is attempts of discrediting me by means of a case of the allegations of the defeating the end of justice case that was going to be registered in relation to an incident that had happened in KZN at Correctional Services at Mpangeni.
General, if I may, I know that the next speaker. I do apologize. I hope I tend to bump into it, so it makes noise, but I'll keep it on. From here on, you deal with a series of communication, and you only attach the actual communication at the end of your narrative. May I request, as you walk through the commissioners through what you say here, that perhaps we invite them to your annexure MK17, and you read both what you state in your statement in relation to any single event with reference to any part of MK17. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Commissioners, as I said, the communication started on the 30th of September when Mr. Mkhwanazi made his allegations. Now, obviously, I don't know where he got my number from, but he made contact with me, cell phone contact.
Sorry, is it the one on page 315?
313, that's where it starts, Commissioners. It starts from 313, 314, and it runs up until I think the entire annexure, Commissioner, which ends at 320.
I'm trying to identify the very first communication. Just look at page 315.
Yes, Commissioner.
Is that the very first WhatsApp you received from
Yeah,
us?
that's the first one. Yeah, I'm sorry with the order because it got dates. Yes, it's on 315. That's correct. So as you can see, the first wording says, "My General Mkhwanazi from Northwest," and then the communication, I think, continues. Yeah, the pages are not aligned correctly, Commissioners, because the next one it becomes 313. which is a continuation of 315.
Did you
May
know?
may I make this request, please?
Yes.
Please rearrange these pages,
Absolutely.
and you will, of course, then have to
Change the numbering
attend
as well.
to the numbering as well.
Definitely, and we intend to do so. May I, for the purposes of this current conversation, accept that the communication starts at 315?
Yes.
If you look at the bottom of 315, it's a snapshot of
Report.
not a report, occurrence book, which then is reflected at page 313. 313 ought to have followed 315. If you could just bear in mind, right? So it will be what you have 315 as the first, 313 would be the second, and then it follows sequentially. Somewhere in the copying, we will correct it, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Commissioner, as you see on those attachments there, what I want to indicate is that, as I started, that I needed to confirm this person, which Chief of Staff confirmed, and later I got his number checked officially so, and it was confirmed it's a number that is registered on the record under his name. So there is no question mark as to his identity as an individual that exists in this country. So, Mr. Mkhwanazi, without maybe following all the paragraph, commissioners, his first, as you have indicated on attachment 315, he start by first sending me a message about the basis for this attempt to open a case against me. And he attaches a copy or a screenshot of a police register at the police station at Mpangeni. He had said he's from Northwest, but he sends me a copy of the occurrence book of Mpangeni SAPS. That's a police station that is serving the Minister of Police, literally less than 5 kilometers away from the minister's house. I received this thing. I'm already told it's close to the minister. That's why I'm linking the minister to it. He sends me this OB, and I'm asking myself, I wonder, how does he get hold of a copy of an OB entry? But nonetheless, he sends me the copy of the OB entry. But he also sends me a draft letter that was not signed. The letter that is not signed has the similar content. Unfortunately, Commissioner, we did not print it, but it is that which is referred to on 313 KZN factual report. That is the draft letter. It's a letter, police letter, that has got the details of an officer that was in charge on that scene on the day of an incident that happened at Correctional Services. But that officer did not sign that letter. It's a letter that is drafted but without a signature. So he attached it on WhatsApp.
Before you proceed, just for the record, that letter was not provided for the purposes of your statement. It is what is attached as per these messages under KZN factual report. But the actual document itself is not provided to us, so we don't know the contents. Am I correct? Well, because it was attached, I'd open it. I cannot remember if I saved that letter separately. I'll just have to check on the record, because I did a screenshot of the conversation between me and him before they were deleted. So we will check and see if you can still.
I'll check on my record. Probably I will have the copy of the letter.
Thank you, General.
Commissioners, this is the first communication he has with me. And I then responded to him, as you see there on 315. On his initial letter, when I asked him what was he talking about, then he sends me this communication. But I gave him a response on that communication. And my response was to him that I am aware of the incident. I was involved in that incident I'm the one that guided the leader of that team of how to handle that case. The content of the occurrence book and the content of the factual report that was attached is a true reflection of my guidance to him. And I explained to him what actually transpired at this correctional facility on the day.
Please refer me to the relevant page. That would be 3.1 what? Your response to him. Because the sequence is confusing as was indicated earlier.
Commissioner, I'm going to have to align these attachments here because I think they indeed they are confusing. I'll if the commissioner agree, allow me.
Can't we take a 3 or 5 minutes and then you just rearrange this?
We just rearrange and we'll renumber.
Because, for example, I'm looking, that was a state house, blah, blah, and I have no idea
We shall do so. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
how that.
Not unless commissioner wants to break, but it doesn't take me long to get to the right page on my response. It's just the sequence of them because I know that.
That's why I was asking you to take me to the relevant page because I didn't see where your response is, for example. General
318.
318. Is that, so is it your response that starts, that was a state house which is within DCS premises?
That's correct.
Does your response start exactly there?
Commissioner, I don't think it starts there. It could be that maybe not all the attachment that we put in.
Does it start at the bottom of 319? I know that matter very well, which was an illegal operation that was conducted at the premises of a high-ranking DCS officer without a search warrant. That was a state house, which, is that how it flows?
That is correct. That's correct, Commissioner. Maybe we should take that break, then we can align.
Let's take the opportunity granted, right? Thank you.